same one, oh, we have to do this, or we have to do this. Because that's why they let Magufuli.
Yes.
They gave him a script, but he was like, no, it can't work here. We need to create our own script. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because even if I give ideas on how we can get back on our feet and work, when the handlers, the government, the main planners are not thinking about it, it's a waste.
When you start a project, definitely, if it's a good idea, it has gone through the development process, then you start what we call in fundraising. As an institution or even an individual who has a creative project, there is what they call fundraising, and that is if it's a public good, it's a common activity. If it's a business, that's a different thing. So when you're doing a business, creative business project, you're not asking for funding, you're asking for investment. People just get turned off by just being asked. You know, you just come and say, Faizo, give me money. I'm like, who are you? You know?
Why should I give you?
Why should I?
What is it?
How do I get them to know that I exist? You're not asking yet, but you're just trying to check to test the waters and see how whether it's possible. I've met Faizo, I know Eddie, we've had a conversation, I trust what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So that trust is built within that asking. Honestly, the money is there. There's a lot of money, and those who know how to find it, they always find it. But then you find others saying, oh, that one is taking our money. Yet you didn't make an effort to find it. We have sleepless nights. I wake up at 2 a.m. to write applications, proposals. I try to balance my office daytime and my fundraising time and all the other things. So you really have to make an effort. The US has just put out a call. The State Department has just put out a call for support for a collaborative grant between the US and Uganda. It's for institutions, it's for individuals, for practitioners that are interested in exchanging ideas and knowledge between US and Uganda specifically. And it's quite between $5,000 to $50,000. So it's available. I talked about earlier about the SCP fund, which was it was introduced already here in Uganda before COVID, I think. And finally, we got British Council and HEVA managing this fund for East Africa. So the call is almost out. I think they'll put it out in May or June. And when that call comes out, you can apply for like 180,000 euros for 3 years, that you can do whatever you want to do. It's both institutional and for individual projects.
Please share it far and wide. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And this information will always remain there. You can watch the show anytime. You can share it far and wide. And Faizo will be back here next week. We'll be talking about investment into the creative industry and how we can go about it and who needs what, where, when, how. We'll be talking about it next week. Until next week, Eddie Okyila, Faizo Chiwewa, the founder and the CEO of Baobab Foundation, is signing out on the Creative Talk.
Welcome to This Week. Our speaker is Carlos Bellemans from Rotterdam, the Netherlands.
Hi, good to meet you. I'm Carlo Bellemans, founder and creative heart of Soundtrip Tribe. I have been working as a professional musician since 1984. I'm a conductor, composer, and professor conducting at Codarts University of the Arts in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. Above all, I'm an adventurer. During my adventures, I meet people with fantastic ideas. I want to work with people who are positive and work on what they want to do. In the end, I have learned the most from people who have the ability to follow their own path. My dream is to overcome obstacles with these people. And that is what Soundtrip Tribe stands for. In 2019, we won a national award for the most innovative stage performance of the year. The award was presented by the Dutch Minister of Culture.
In 2014, Carlo founded Soundtrip Tribe, wanting to create music with people who can inspire him to push his boundaries and their own. He staged his first Soundtrip XXL, an enormous improvised concert that was a huge success. 150 musicians, improvising and classically trained, amateurs and professionals of all generations, DJs and dancers in a 90-minute performance. This led to inspiring collaborations with the Dutch Wind Ensemble and the Arnhem Philharmonic Orchestra. Carlo's first encounter with Uganda was in 2004, working with the brass bands of Father Wijnandshuis and training the local brass band leaders. In 2018, he created a performance during the Dowa Dowa East African Performing Arts Market with local musicians, an amazing group of singing girls, the Kampala Symphony Orchestra, and the Soundtrip Tribe musicians. They built most of this team by spontaneously joining jam sessions at the National Theatre. In 2019, Carlo went on a world trip through Australia, Asia, New York, and South America. He started looking for positive, adventurous musicians, and this journey laid the foundation for a large international and diverse network.
Everything starts with conviction. We design a new route for every good idea. We start with an empty sheet of paper. What are we going to do? How are we going to get there? And who do we need? So, design thinking is very important. We start at the top of the mountain. We try to start with the ultimate version of our idea. We invest in that. Sometimes supported by government funding, often from our own resources. After that, opportunities will come. And sometimes they don't. But stay optimistic, don't give up. Be honest to the world and to yourself, and do it again and again and again. The slogan of Soundtrip Tribe is Meet, Inspire and Celebrate. It's more than just a slogan. For me, it's a way of life. Meeting people is fun. Meeting interesting people is even more fun. And making beautiful things with challenging people is the best. To inspire is challenging. Being inspired is even more challenging. The balance between these is the ultimate challenge. Celebrating small successes makes you happy. Celebrating many small successes in a row makes you even happier. A final product that you enjoy with your entire squad is the ultimate celebration. Ultimately, you create a lot of energy and commitment with a positive work attitude. You radiate that. There is no better business model. Everyone wants to be a part of that.
Wind orchestras belong to the Netherlands in the same way that tulips and windmills do. The first orchestra was founded in 1775, and at the moment, wind music is the most practiced sport after football. Society in 2021 is more international than ever before. More than 170 nationalities live in cities like Rotterdam. There is an infinite source of information and inspiration. With Soundtrip Tribe, we work on connections between musical traditions. Think of linking auditory traditions to score reading music traditions and connecting the language of young people with that of older generations. It's not about what is right or wrong. Curiosity about each other is what makes the difference. Carlo composed Connect Please for Erik Vloeimans, one of Europe's greatest improvising trumpet players. In this performance, Carlo combines a Balkan group with a classical boys choir and a fanfare orchestra. Erik Vloeimans is the improvising free bird on trumpet.
Traditionally, wind music is inextricably linked to religion. Most villages and towns used to have a Catholic part and a Protestant part. The Catholics had a harmony orchestra, the Protestants a fanfare. In English, fanfare, but it's a typical Dutch word, so we call it fanfare. A harmony orchestra uses wooden wind instruments. The fanfare focuses on brass instruments. The competition between these orchestras is such a huge part of our history that in 1958 Bertha Haanstra made a film about this fraternal musical struggle.
Wat gebeurt er nou?
The fanfare orchestra only exists in the Netherlands and the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. In Belgium, this orchestral form is officially recognized as cultural heritage. This process has been initiated in the Netherlands, but has not yet been completed. Today, religion plays a much smaller role. The orchestras are deeply rooted in their community. Despite the Dutch climate, we often play in open-air concerts. The best orchestras are also part of the programming in theaters. These orchestras form a lifeline for the supply of professional musicians for the top symphony orchestras in the Netherlands and abroad.
Soundtrip Tribe is always looking for positive people with a drive. We are good at doing. We facilitate options both artistically and in terms of performance. We are not an agency. We challenge, we have a broad network, and we provide perspective. Ultimately, it is your own responsibility what you do with those elements. With the Soundtrip World Award, we give artists a helping hand, both financially and in terms of exposure. For example, in 2018, we met Davies Ndambazi in Kampala during the Doa Doa East African Performing Arts Market. In 2019, he was the third prize winner of our award. In addition to the prize money he used to improve his YouTube channel, the orchestra accompanied his video during a performance in Zwolle, in the Netherlands. 800 people in the theater and near 1,000 people via the live stream saw his performance. Davies used the live stream images to make a Facebook clip of his performance. He had more than 10,000 hits in 2 days. This is exactly how we view our role. We facilitate opportunities, and the artists put themselves in the spotlight.
The stage is all yours.
Thank you.
For you. Absolute yes from me. I want to see that again.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, and I can't wait to see you again.
I'm also going to give you my yes. Well done.
We were delighted to see that he was successful in East Africa's Got Talent, and we are loyal followers of his YouTube channel, Davies Violinist. In the same performance, we bridged the gap between folk music from Ukraine and Belarus and the traditional Dutch fanfare. This interactive sound symphony received the KNMO Award 2019 for the most innovative stage performance in the Netherlands. This is what we do, making use of what is already there, building bridges between music cultures and motivating artists to show the world all they got. See your opportunities and grab them.
My biggest dream is that we are curious about each other's wisdom without seeing our own as truth, but simply as a contribution. When I translate this to music, what skills do you need to be a mediator between different music backgrounds and different generations? What skills do you need to blend tradition with 21st century possibilities? I developed musical leadership, mastering universal communication. This course solves the pain point of communication between different styles of music by improving the balance between intuitive and technical musical craftsmanship. You learn to distinguish essentials from minor issues. This course has an active Q&A section which keeps us in active contact with each other. It's available on udemy.com. It will be released on the 1st of June 2021. On our Soundtrip Tribe digital workspace, we are running a project called the Mediators. Our musical communication medium is MIDI. Why MIDI? MIDI is in full development. MIDI is the musical language of the next generation, and MIDI is the key to adventure. What to do with the Mediators? We create stunning social media content and live performances of acoustic and electronic music. In our digital environment, you get access to a full Google Workspace secured by Netflix. You work in squads that are coached in the field of artistic content, video, audio and social media content. I live as a digital nomad, which means that I have no permanent residence. I live where it's interesting to me at the time. So, do you have a good idea? Let's meet, inspire and celebrate.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another edition of Doa Doa 2021, a virtual docu-series. As you've heard from our speaker of this week, now you are going to get to know the artist. This focused artist is one of the most interesting artists from this country. He is an inventor. He has invented one of the most interesting instruments called Janzi. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy James Sewasewa.
We play this instrument in the Buganda Kingdom, especially on weddings. These are some of the instruments that, today we don't use so many of them, but these instruments were played for the Kabaka in Buganda, functions in the kingdom. So we call this instrument Endongo. But the same instrument is played in Busoga also. We call it Endongo in Buganda. They call it Entongoli in Busoga. It's the same instrument, tuned the same way. It has 8 strings. This one specifically looks a bit more modern because we are trying to modify many of our instruments from Uganda because the traditional ones that you will find out there do not have these tuning pegs. They don't have this as a pickup. So we're trying to modify many of our instruments to meet the international standards, so we can see our instruments cross internationally as well. Welcome to Doa Doa, the virtual edition. My name is Sewachiranga James Sewasewa, commonly known as an artist. Music is my life. Making instruments is part of me, like this very special instrument called Janzi, which was named after Janzi Band. Enjoy the sound of the Janzi. James is a musician, the son of the late Sewachiranga James Sr. and Namata Betty Sewachiranga. My mom is a dancer. My dad was a drummer. And I learned so much from him. I still learn from his history, because if you go on YouTube, there's still some of his videos where he was playing. Music is all I know. Music is me. Music is what I do. James is the founder of Janzi Band.
Ogunda bulala kutidde naye nagenda komo Kampala kunoonya manyi kujjukiza laavu ey'obubadi yeye kujjukiza laavu ey'obubadi. She tell me baby don't go, yasiba oluggi lw'emiryango ono yasalawo abaali baliwo olutalo balulabako omukwano gwaffe gwaliko ng'oleeta ne keeki n'endyako nga twefaako iwo yeffe twaliko iwo yeffe twaliko ayitayo ndabeko hani omukwano gwo gwe kuliko tukole ebiriyo ayitayo ndabeko hani omukwano gwo gwe kuliko tukole ebiriyo. Nobody could go to the thing, nobody compare to the thing.
I formed Janzi Band back in 2009. That was on the 27th of August. So we're talking about 11 years, making 12 years this year. We've achieved a lot as a band, because from the band, putting aside playing, gigs here and there, we've managed to invent an instrument called Janzi, this one here. It's a fully patented instrument. It's a Ugandan instrument. So we launched the instrument in 2019 at the Serena Kampala Hotel. We had a good turn-up, and people were really amused with what we had managed to do. And from Janzi Instrument, we have a Janzi studio where we do our rehearsals from, brainstorm and create the music for people every day. From that, we have a charity organization called Janzi for Hope, where we give back to community, the people who have supported us all the years. And for this particular instrument, I offered 60% when I sell the instrument. It goes to people in need. Even my music, once sold, that percentage goes to people to support. I think I saw myself becoming a big musician because I was learning from the best, and that's my late father. I grew up seeing my father being praised. He did so many tours, he did so many state functions, and for me, because he was a star in my eyes, I wanted to be a star as, growing up seeing him and having the opportunity to play with him. I always wanted to do better than him, and that pushed me a lot because he used to challenge me in so many different ways. And one thing I remember, we used to have a joke where I told him, one day I'm going to be better than you, and he would laugh it off. And I made sure I learned more instruments than he could play, and then played his main instrument, that was the drum. And I told him, now I'm better than you. I feel so proud that I was able to play with him, learn from him, and now I'm on my path. And my path is not just about me. It's not just playing music and move on. It's about what do I mean to the community, and that's how I come to build this instrument, because I don't want to be remembered as a mere musician who played music and that was it. What did you mean to the community? For me, this is not my instrument. It's a Ugandan instrument. It's a worldwide instrument that everyone can actually take this instrument on, but created in Uganda. So for me, I feel, just about being a star, but who are you to the community? That means a lot to me. What motivates me is I love my country and I want to sell my country to the world. I have traveled, and I remember in 2009, I was in Germany, and I walked into a music store, and a gentleman asked me, what are you doing here? I told him I'm a musician, so I'm on tour. He said, what kind of instrument do you play? I said, the adungu. And he didn't know what the adungu is. So we had to Google. And he was like, is it a kora? I said, no, it's not a kora. It's an adungu from Uganda. For me, it was a lesson that the world does not know much about us. And it is my responsibility to take that on and make sure I sell Uganda. So for me, my country, and then, the richness of the roots that we have here, it's a bit challenging if the world does not know about that, because we have a lot to teach to the world. So that pushes me to keep going.